Straight ahead on the sports news, we preview the upcoming boys state basketball tournament with the Evansville Blue Devils. We'll take to the pool with some state champions from Madison Memorial, and we'll go to where basketball is just a game in the Dells. All that and more on the sports news next. Hello and welcome to the Sports News, your 30-minute look into the tackles, hits, checks, and dunks that make up the local sports scene. I'm your host, Rich Reynolds, and let's hit the ground running. A Wisconsin Badger is coming back home as former Badger safety Jim Leonard is returning to the UW as the defensive backs coach. Leonard played for the Badgers from 2001 to 2004 and is replacing Durante Jones, who is now coaching with the Miami Dolphins. Leonard also played for 6 different NFL teams during a 10-year career, and this will be his first coaching gig. Well, another year and another state title for Madison Memorial's boys swim team. The tally is now at 6 straight titles at the state swimming and dive championships that were held this past weekend at the UW Natatorium. It was also the 16th title overall for Memorial, who finished with 314 points and well ahead of second place West, who had 202. The Spartans were led by senior and UW recruit Justin Temprano, who became a 3-time champion in the 100-yard backstroke. We will talk with Temprano later on this show. Well, it's not too early to think spring, thankfully, as the Baseball Wisconsin Yearbook released their preseason baseball rankings. Lots of teams check in locally, as in Division II, Lodi is ranked number 2. Madison Edgewood is 3rd in the poll with Jefferson at 7. The Dells are 8th, and Columbus is in at 14th. In D4, last year's state champion Rio is the top-ranked team in the Badger State. Pecatonica is 3rd in the poll, while Johnson Creek is 11th. The Division I rankings will be released this week. Speaking of baseball, the Madison Mallards have signed 2 local products to play at the Duck Pond this season. Infielder Tony Butler from Sun Prairie is returning for his 3rd season with the Mallards, and Verona area high school catcher and Team Heat baseball player Ben Rortvedt will also be on the squad. Now, Rortvedt is ranked as the 2nd best catcher in the nation and 9th best player overall by Prep Baseball Report and Perfect Game. The Mallard season opens up May 31st on the road at Battle Creek with a home opener on Friday, June 3rd against Rockford. And a night after tallying a hat trick, De Pere native Sam McCormick was back at it, finding the back of the net on Saturday night as the Madison Capitals defeated the Muskegon Lumberjacks 5-2 in Michigan. The Caps stay on the road for a little while longer, finally returning home on Friday, March 11th against Sioux Falls. For more information and all the 411 on our headlines, check out these fine websites. Stick around. We have a jam-packed show as we talk hoops, swimming, sports from Waunakee, Evansville, and more. All of that next here on the Sports News on CW 57 Sports. And we're back on the Sports News and talking to a couple of guys who you might have seen on our airwaves just a couple of weeks ago as the Evansville Blue Devils beat the Edgerton Crimson Tide right here on CW 57, a game that I and Roy Boone called, as we have Kyle Rutkowski and Hayden Reese joining us right now from the Evansville Blue Devil team. Welcome in, guys. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks for being here. You know, we're just about at tournament play, which is starting real soon. What's your seating looking like heading into the tournament?
We got a pretty good seed. We won't expect them to be that high. We got a 4 seed, so it's pretty good for us.
Awesome, yeah. You guys did really well. What was your final record? How did you all do? Tell us a little bit about the past season.
We finished 18. Well, we have one more game next week, but right now we're 18-3. And then following week we got our first playoff game home Tuesday.
Going back to your seeding then, who are the other top teams that are in the bracket along with you guys?
There's actually a lot of pretty good teams in our tournament this year. Like we have Lakeside, Marshall, like Mills, Edgewood, East Troy. There's a bunch of different teams that can make a pretty big run.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those teams, including both of those Lake Mills teams, and both of them do look pretty good. What do you think that the key to success is going to be for you guys as you move along in the bracket?
Playing how we can play to our best potential, and I think we can make a pretty good run.
Yeah, talking about your game, Hayden, a little bit, in the game that we saw you playing, you had 16 points. What do you think your strong points to your game are?
Well, I'm pretty good at shooting outside, and when I'm feeling it, my teammates try to get me the ball. So, yeah.
So if you're the outside guy, then Kyle, you're the inside guy, is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
When we saw you down low, I thought you had nice footwork, you were aggressive on the boards, and definitely taking the ball to the rack as well. I think you had a couple of dunks that you threw down as well. Talk about your game a little bit. What do you need to do to be successful?
Well, when I get the ball inside, I like looking out, seeing where my teammates are, because a lot of times people try double teaming me and there's always someone left open, so try getting them the ball back for open shots.
Nice. And now talk about as a team overall, fellas, what do you think your strengths are heading into the tournament?
Well, last year we made a pretty good playoff run, making it to sectionals, so we got the same team as last year, so we're pretty close.
So a lot of experience then would be one of your strengths?
Yeah.
And
how about something as a weakness? Not to give anything away to anybody that you got to play, but what are some of the things you need to work on?
I don't know, I'll just say stayed focused, trying to keep our heads in the right place and getting ready for games.
That is always harder. So fellas, congratulations on a great season so far. You guys played great when you were on TV as well, so that's always good. And we look forward to seeing what you guys can do in the tournament. Good luck. Thanks for being here.
Yep, thank you.
And we dive into the pool right now with a couple of guys who made a splash over at the State Swimming and Diving Championships. Yeah, I know, the puns are absolutely horrible, but you can almost smell the chlorine as we bring in Ben Gebhardt and Justin Temprano with Madison Memorial. Fellas, thanks for joining us here on the Sports News.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit in the headlines as Madison Memorial now has won 6 straight championships at the Swimming and Diving Championships. This past weekend it happened over at the UW Natatorium, that is. I can get that out, I promise. Talk about the, winning the championship again and it being 6 straight. Does it ever get old for you guys winning?
No, it's always super special when we win. That's our goal every year. And we were just extremely proud to be able to get that done.
Absolutely. Now, I'm sure that you've had a lot of highlights throughout the year. What are some of your most memorable times while you've been swimming at Memorial?
I think our most memorable experiences would be winning the state meet. That's something that we definitely don't take for granted, individually and as a team, and just coming together real close as a team and forming that kind of family feel.
Yeah, and both of you guys then are going to be able to go on to college and swim there. So let's start with Justin. Justin, you're staying in state, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm super excited to swim for UW.
Yeah, that's really cool. And Ben, where are you headed to?
I'm headed to Eastern Michigan University.
Very cool, swimming in the MAC. So it's nice to know that you guys are both going to be able to take it to the next level. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be following you. We'll be following you right here on the Sports News as well. For a lot of people that are aspiring young swimmers, like my daughter is 8 years old. She swims. She loves swimming in meets. Backstroke is her event. So Justin, maybe she could take some insight from you. Talk about it. What advice do you have for young swimmers as they look to progress?
Have fun with it. You may not think of it as a team sport, but it always helps if you make it that way. Team environment's going to make practice way more fun.
Absolutely, and I've seen a lot of the camaraderie around swimming as well, so that's great. Another thing you see with swimmers are goofy haircuts. What are some of the goofiest haircuts that you guys saw?
I think the goofiest one we had this year was a sophomore on our team, Alex Woke. He kind of had a chin strap beard going, and we kind of continued that over his head and shaved everything else, so that was pretty awesome.
Nice. Alex is going to love you putting him on blast like that too, I'm sure. So what's the outlook then ahead for Madison Memorial? 6 straight titles is pretty amazing. How are you guys looking as a team for next season?
Well, we had a huge senior class this year, so they will be missing a little bit, but I think they're still a talented group of guys. They'll be good next year also.
Absolutely, when the program gets going like that, a lot of it has to do with your head coach. Talk about the coaching that you guys get at Memorial.
I think our coaching staff is, in my opinion, the best in the state, if not the country, for high school swimming. We're very, very thankful to have Paul Eckerly as a head coach. He does a phenomenal job as tapering us and getting us prepared to swim in big meets, not only physically but mentally. And we have awesome assistant coaches, Carl Richters and Ben Anderson, and Ben's done a phenomenal job of getting us prepared in the weight room. And Carl's always done a good job at kind of keeping our spirits up and getting that family environment.
Very cool. And congratulations, fellas. We look forward to following you throughout college. We appreciate you joining us, and thanks for spending some time here on the Sports News.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We will be right back. Coming up next, we are going to be talking sports over at Waunakee High School. That is straight ahead, along with Just a Game, right here on the Sports News on CW 57 Sports. And welcome back to the Sports News as we go just a little bit north of the city right now and turn our attention to the only Waunakee in the world and talk some Waunakee High School sports with Aaron May, the athletic director over at Waunakee High School. How you doing today, Aaron?
Great. I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in and great to see you again. We saw you a couple weeks ago as we had a basketball game on CW 57, a game that you guys won against Sauk Prairie. If you can just talk about that game a little bit. I thought that the atmosphere was electric at your gym. That was a great game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really an awesome game. The guys, were behind the first half, came out and played tough in that second half to pull out the victory. And we've got some great fan support from the parents, from the community, and from the students.
Absolutely. There was a line of people waiting to get in. Some other things going on at Waunakee as well. State swimming and diving championships were just this past weekend. How'd you guys do over there?
We really did well. We had 2 relays. They placed in the top 20, and then we had 2 individual swimmers. Colin Duffy placed in the top 20, and then Jackson Madonian placed top 5 in both of his events. So we really had a successful day at the natatorium.
Nice. And we go from the natatorium to the mat as the wrestling championships are coming up. What do you expect from the guys this weekend?
Well, we had, we hosted sectionals yesterday, and we were able to qualify 3 to go on down to the Cole Center this coming week. I'm just expecting them to go out there and compete their hearts out over those 3 days and really give the Waunakee fans something to be proud of.
'Tis the season for tournaments, a girls basketball tournament starting up as well. What can you expect out of the girls?
Well, I know they've got big goals. They made the state last year. They've got some big goals this year. They received a 2 seed, so I know they've got their sights set pretty high to make it up to Green Bay again this year, make a repeat turn.
Yeah, that would be nice. And also still alive right now, the hockey team still going strong. How did they do so far, and what could they look forward to?
Well, they won Friday night over Madison Memorial, a really good team in Madison Memorial, and now this week they've got to go to Edgewood and play a really tough Crusaders team.
We talked a little boys basketball, and the boys basketball team has been ranked tops in the state at times during this season as well. What can you expect for the boys basketball team heading into the tournament?
Well, they accomplished their first goal, which is the win conference, and again, their sights are set on a state tournament berth. So that's really what the expectation is, and that's what the goal is. So that's what they're going to be working hard these next couple weeks to get there.
Weather's starting to turn a little bit. The days are getting a little bit longer. Spring's almost here. What can we see for spring sports out of Waunakee?
Well, I think everybody just is excited when the weather turns and you can get back outside. We have some tremendous participation rates in the spring sports. We offer 8 spring sports, so it's really an opportunity for all our athletes to get outside and to compete as hard as they can.
A lot going on for the Warriors at Waunakee. We thank you, Aaron, for joining us here today.
Thank you.
And we head up to Wisconsin Dells right now as we bring in Billy Kegler, the general manager over at Just a Game Fieldhouse in the Dells. And Billy, thanks for joining us here on the Sports News today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I finally got to see Just a Game Fieldhouse just about a month ago. My son was there with the Columbus Cardinals team. Talk about a little bit what Just a Game Fieldhouse is for people that haven't been there. What's it all about?
Well, it's an athletic facility that encompasses 57,000 square feet. It's all hardwood flooring, and it's basketball and a little bit of volleyball involved also. And it has youth tournaments, camps, clinics for youth sports and activities for kids to participate.
Yeah, and always a flurry of activity, I think, there as well. How did Just a Game Fieldhouse get its start?
Well, Dave and Joy Royston are the owners, and they started their first business in Wisconsin Dells, and that was Sports Impressions, and that's a screen printing and embroidery company. And as they had children, they were traveling around the state, the Midwest, and the country, and they saw other facilities, and they realized that there was a need for this in Wisconsin, and that Wisconsin Dells would be a great place for one because of the location and the other amenities that it offers fans, spectators, and players.
Yeah, I haven't seen Dave Royston in a little while, but I actually got a hockey jersey made up when I lived in the Dells and was doing radio at WNNO that had like my name on it. So I'm definitely familiar with Sports Impressions. As we talk a little bit more about Just a Game, though, what are some of the programs that you offer for basketball and volleyball?
The main things we offer are youth tournaments. We also have camps and leagues, both for individuals and teams to participate in. We have teams that we put together of kids so that they can participate. If they don't have something through their school or in the off season, we make that available for them.
Very nice. What other events do you host besides basketball and volleyball?
We've had the Wisconsin State Power Lifting Competition. The Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Association Fall Clinic is held at our facility every year. And then we also have had meetings and various conventions for people that need a large amount of space.
You talk about your association with the Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Association. What does that all entail? What goes on with that?
Well, we're the home for Wisconsin basketball, and we have the Hall of Fame actually in our building. So as you enter our building, you'll see various aspects for the history of the state of Wisconsin and basketball, whether that's jerseys from former players, historical articles, records for men's and women's players. And so it's a really neat thing for kids to participate in and see how basketball has progressed throughout the course of time in the state of Wisconsin.
I know I was wide-eyed looking at all the stuff at the Hall of Fame. What's coming up event-wise at Just a Game?
Well, coming up in May, we have one of our biggest tournaments, the Wisconsin Ducks Hugh Roberts Classic, which is May 13th through the 17th, and that's our largest tournament of the year, and we have some great competition that comes into play for that. And then June 17th and 18th, the Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Association has their All-Star Games for boys and girls for high school seniors in the state of Wisconsin. On June 24th, we have the Weenie Day Shootout, and we also have a 5K run that day, which we run with the Clement Sausages. So it's a great day for the family to come up, play some basketball, participate in a fun run, and have a family day in the Dells.
Always busy, yeah. Billy Kegler from Just a Game, thanks for joining us here on the Sports News today. We'll be back with a lot more as you're watching the Sports News here on CW 57 Sports. This celebrity interview is sponsored by Capital Brewery.
Have you ever wondered how athletes keep their bodies properly fueled throughout the day? Well, what better way to find out than with American pro golfer Michelle Wie, who has had many top 10 finishes in major competitions and was the winner of the 2014 U.S. Women's Open. She is joining us today to provide us some tips in keeping a healthy and active lifestyle like the true pro athlete that she is. And Michelle, I know you're on the other side of the camera there on the other line, and we're so pleased to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So we're going to jump right in. We are just pleased to be speaking with you, but we want to talk to you today about some tips to keep our bodies fueled throughout the day. Obviously, as an athlete, this is something that is very important to you.
For sure. I have some really simple tips. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's super simple, so anyone can do it. You don't need to be a professional athlete to follow these tips. My first one is to always keep protein-packed staples like the Starkist tuna and salmon creation pouches with you at all times. You know, I love to stash it in my gym bag, my golf bag, my suitcase, my purse, just to always have protein on you. You know, after a workout, you should always have protein right afterwards, and you should have seafood 2 to 3 times a week to actually lower the risk of heart disease and boost your brain, which is exactly what everyone needs. And I love these pouches. They're so easy to eat. Just keeping convenient protein is really important. You just rip open these pouches and grab a fork. You don't need a bowl. You don't need to mix it with anything. There's no draining required. You just eat it straight out of the package. So always having snacks, being prepared, I think that's a key.
Yeah, great tip, and convenience is really important. So I think that's great that you've touched on that and how easy it is to just toss it in your bag and have it on hand. Now,
for sure.
Obviously your schedule is really busy, so you know that, better than anybody that convenience is key. How do you maintain that healthy lifestyle though when you are so busy?
It definitely gets hard, but like I said, preparation is key, and I love to meal prep before the week, just to have my meals ready, but also to have go-to recipes that I can use, I can just throw together within 5 minutes. And I have one here for you guys today. That's super easy to make. There's no cooking required. All you have to do, throw in your ingredients together and you're done. So I love to start off with baby spinach, because I love a good baby spinach salad. And then I like to get creative and I like to chop up avocado. It's great because it's healthy fat. And then red onion and nuts and seeds. You can throw in whatever you have in your pantry. And to top it off, I love the Star-Kissed Salmon Creation Mango Chipotle because it's sweet, it's spicy, and I love that extra kick. And for that extra kick, I also add red chili peppers to it. And for dressing, you don't really need dressing because the flavor pouch has so much flavor in it that you don't need the extra dressing. But I do like to squeeze a little lime juice on top just to give it that zest. And it's so great because it's low in sodium, high in lean protein, and has great fat like avocado. And it's all ready in less than 5 minutes.
Wow, that is a great recipe, and I like that you say you actually don't need dressing because I think that's something that people are challenged with when they're trying to eat healthy. Is it's really hard to find a healthy dressing that isn't going to cost you a fortune or you don't have to make yourself. So having being able to skip that, just throw a little lemon or lime on top, I love that.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, these salmon has so much flavor to it already.
Right, yeah, I think that's great. Any other recipes or additional tips for those, ladies on the go, even if they're not pro athletes like you, lots of folks are looking to eat healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot more recipes on starkiss.com, but one tip that I have for, just for anyone is to always try to squeeze in a workout. I always hear people that complain like, oh, I'm too busy for a workout. You can always squeeze in even 5 minutes. Even 5 minutes in the morning, it helps to circulate your blood, get things going. Take your dog out for a walk. Go on a hike with your friends and, catch up there instead of going to a restaurant. There's so many things that you can squeeze in. And being outdoors, I think it's such a great stress reliever because it's so great to be out in the nature.
Yeah, totally agree. Make time, it's so important to be able to do that. So for you, Michelle, I know, like we said, you're a busy lady and you're on the go. What's next?
Yeah, I have a couple of busy weeks in front of me. I'm going to Thailand and Singapore to play in the 2 tournaments. I'm really excited for that. The 2016 season has officially started, so it's going to get a little crazy for me, but I'm really excited for it.
Well, we certainly look forward to that, and we really appreciate your time and your interview and all the great tips on healthy recipes and ways to stay healthy on the go. This is Michelle Wee, pro golfer, and we thanks for your time.
Thank you.
This celebrity interview is sponsored by Capital Brewery. And thanks for joining us this week here on the Sports News on CW57. And a big thank you as well to the Red Zone over on Regent Street. Rick and all the fellas, make sure you visit them for the best pub grub in town and visit them online as well at redzonemadison.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on the Sports News.